We're more connected with social media and with our phones than anything else.
If you start to get to know the people that live in your community, you start to really get a vibe of what is actually happening in your world.
Are we actually listening to respond, or are we listening to understand?
But you can't please all the people all the time.
Yeah, you're not perfect. They're not perfect, and it's okay.
As a politician in this realm, and you are putting your hand up for people to funnel that anger at you.
Welcome to the show that celebrates our city, its people, and the stories that bring us together.
From local businesses to community events, hidden gems to big ideas. If it's happening in Calgary, you'll find it here.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Kim. And this is Wake Up Calgary.
Calgary is a place of confluence where the Bow and the Elbow rivers meet, a place where the opportunities naturally come together. On Wake Up Calgary, we embrace the spirit of connection. We honor and acknowledge the land in which we work, live, and share stories, which is Treaty 7 territory. This is traditional homeland of the First Nations and Métis people. Today, we are part of this treaty land, and we are grateful for all it has to offer.
Welcome to Wake Up Calgary, where we connect with the people shaping our city through heart, service, and purpose. Today, we're talking about leadership that listens, the kind that combines empathy with action. We'll meet Sarah Ferguson, who has spent years helping residents navigate City Hall and is now stepping forward as a candidate for Ward 12 City Council. Then Sean sits down with Carlamay Sheremata, say that 3 times, who teaches how calm and courage can transform the way we lead and connect. And joining us in studio today is our own Linda Garson is here, Culinaire magazine, with the signature food and spirits segment, chatting with James Jenkins of Ocean to Mountain Seafood and the Drunken Lobster Oyster Bar in Canmore. A taste of how passion and logistics brings the ocean to Alberta's mountains. Because real leadership, whether it's business, community, or cuisine, doesn't stand above it. It stands beside. All right, Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I was excited to see your name come across my desk because you are running Ward 12, which is my old stomping grounds, McKenzie Town area. And now for 4 years, you've been the voice, actually longer than that, because we've talked about from your daycare days, really at that boots level, really working to bring residents together and connect. Now you're looking at, connecting the resources from the city to the residents at, I guess, a little bit higher than that cellular level of connecting families and community. Yeah. So I want to go into this. First of all, why run?
Well, yeah, and that's exactly it. Why run? It is a really interesting world to get involved in politics at this point. But, I've spent so many years, like you said, in my community, starting off with my day home and running that and just getting a group of moms together at that level. Then I started volunteering on my community association and doing advocacy specifically for McKenzie Town. And then through that, I got a job within the Ward 12 office. So I was doing advocacy for the whole community. And this is the next progression. This is where I have leveled up to. And now it's time for me to take this leadership role and really take all these things that I've learned and these relationships I've built, these people that I've been talking to, and how it's all shaped me into this person that really loves these communities and is part of them. And I can go into this role and really take those lessons I've learned and be able to and to talk to folks about what I know and how our city works and how community works especially.
So you've mentioned advocacy, and in similar ways, I did a lot of what you've done, but more in, like with real estate, but I was very much an advocate in the community. But you've said advocacy several times. What's the biggest shift for you moving from local advocacy, community association, and now doing that full campaign for council?
Oh, specifically for campaign, one of the toughest parts, honestly, is the putting yourself in people's space. A lot of the time when you're doing advocacy work, people are kind of like, you're talking to people, they come to you, you work together. It's this like real, symbiotic type of realm. And you're in the background. You're just doing the groundwork. You know how things work and you work with them. And it's not about me. It's about the advocacy, that piece. So first off, doing a campaign where this is about me now. People want to know my opinions. They don't just want to know what I've learned or what I know. They actually want to know who I am as a person. And then putting yourself out there and asking, for email addresses, for lawn signs, for money. Like that is all stuff that's kind of out of the realm of what I'm used to doing.
I could see how that would be a challenge because that's definitely a different mindset.
Yes.
However, because you've been at the boot since 2014, 2012, you've been in the community.
Yeah.
And starting with the most vulnerable, the children, serving them and the young families. What have you learned that maybe has shifted? What do you think Calgary families really need?
Oh, those spaces, right? Like we don't have those casual spaces that we used to be, like the third spaces that they talk about, yes, we're always, taking kids to sports. They have these different communities, but at the end of the day, where we casually hang out is our communities. It's our park spaces, our community halls. Those spaces are so important, especially to a young family, just to get out, those bike rides, whatever it is, right? So those aspects come up a lot in the discussions around the communities of the maintenance of them and the use of them and how can we better utilize them for people to gather.
And so do you call those third spaces?
That's right, where it's not home and not work or school. And so those third places, in history, those third spaces used to be, churches or different kind of community halls, and people used to come together in those spaces a lot more. And we don't have that the same way that history had them. And working on those spaces to promote them, to have them in the community, I think it's lacking, and we need to really focus on those in communities. And especially when we plan communities and build them, like the physical communities, we can then build the more like metaphorical communities, whether that is the people in your neighborhood or your culture group or, your sport or,
Or sympathy. What is that? Misery loves company. Hey, I've got teenagers.
Exactly.
How do you bring empathy and accountability together in public service?
Well, empathy, in my opinion, should be in everything, right? So when you are being held accountable, or you are holding people account, you still need to really picture what it is from their side of things. And especially when it comes to, say, advocacy and those kinds of pieces, a lot of the time it is people coming to you with their issues. And it's not like they're going to come to you and be like, I'm happy. This is great. Everything's wonderful. They are coming to you at that point because they are frustrated. They've tried all the things they already know. So you're already going to be met with high emotion if it's getting to that point of they're coming to you at your community association or as a counselor, however that works. There's already emotion. So if you have that empathy piece, you can get on their side with them, right? And then that they are there to hold you accountable.
What does collaboration between city staff and the communities and when it works well, like what does that look like?
Watching that for the past 4 years, there is a lot of incredible city staff, and they live in our communities. They're out there. They are experiencing the same issue. So that engagement piece from a counselor's office that brings the city administration and the city staff that are part of this, that are like they're so incredibly smart. They know their stuff way better. And, as a council, you're kind of that conduit for it. But giving the opportunity, right? So there is the opportunity for these conversations. Right now, it's tougher when there is a lot of vitriol involved in it. So sometimes the council office ends up kind of being that lightning rod. And that is something like you knowingly put your hand up for this role, is knowing that you're going to kind of catch that heat as required.
Yeah.
And I do think that's important. That is the role that the people that the administration in particular, that's not necessarily part of their job. They are there because they acknowledge that they know. But as a council, then you can engage with both sides to make sure that the genius behind, in administration, the stuff that they know, how they want to grow their community. They're community advocates. They're usually very involved in everything going on because they know this stuff so well. And then making sure that those communication pieces, those exciting pieces are brought back to the community as well. And then as those relationships really work, then you can start connecting them together better. And that is the goal, right? Like you want to be able to have this fluid motion that lives beyond a politician's lifetime in there.
Absolutely. I know that there's a lot of work, and this is not something that just happened as of recent. They have documentation of people not knowing their neighbors since the 1950s when the first televisions came out, right? They've been documenting this kind of slow separation within community, which is kind of odd when you think about it. And I think it takes great leaders and great initiators to make those things come together.
Yeah.
Sarah, I can't thank you enough for taking time. I know you're super busy right now. Thank you for your dedication, your service, and your insight. To see Sarah's extended interview where we hear more about her vision for Ward 12, visit WakeUpCalgary.ca. Now, Sean continues the conversation on leadership from City Hall to self-awareness with Carlamay
Azuridge Estate Hotel, a one-of-a-kind resort nestled in the foothills. Whether you're enjoying a weekend escape, a luxury spa day at Flourish, the Live Well Spa, or celebrating a special occasion, Azuridge offers breathtaking views, exceptional dining, and the perfect place to recharge. Experience this beautiful boutique luxury just 15 minutes west of the city. Visit azuridgehotel.com to plan your next stay. Thanks, Kim. I'm joined by Carlamay Sheremata, founder of Diamond in the Rough Consulting. She's helping leaders, parents, and professionals rediscover the power of connection in a world that often feels so disconnected. It's true. We're very disconnected. So thank you for joining us here today. I'm super excited to have a chat with you.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. You often talk about the crisis of disconnection. What does that mean in today's workplace or even in our homes?
Well, disconnection, like you had mentioned, it's everywhere now. We're more connected with social media and with our phones than anything else. And so I look at the fact of if we're going homes today, you can be living in the exact same house with your family, with your teens, but be so disconnected. Like you don't even know. It's like you're strangers living in that same house. And even in corporations, leaders, they feel that they're technically connected and they're running $1 million company. However, when they actually look at it, they don't have that connection. There's that correction, but they don't have that connection with their people.
So how do we do that?
Well, the biggest thing I think of when I look at how, I guess, with disconnect, what's going on is, number one, we have to look at ourselves. And I think we have to be very honest with ourselves of how are we a part of this and where do we come in? And then looking at the fact of, we look at with listening. What does listening actually mean? Are we actually listening to respond or are we listening to understand?
I don't think it's been taught to us.
No.
Right?
No.
And so this is one of your main messages, and I think it's so powerful. You've created the CALM leadership method: connection, clarity, courage, and compassion. How does that model change leadership?
I think it changes leadership in a big way. When I look at it, I lived in a world of chaos as a police officer.
Let's pause that for a second.
Okay.
A police officer. How amazing. How many years?
Just over 21 years. Yeah.
Wow.
And
I'm sure you saw a lot.
Oh, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we tend as police to see people at their worst, right? Because people don't call us when something amazing has happened. They call us when something bad is happening. And I looked and lived chaos for so long. And then also working in the high schools that I did for 8.5 years, chaos was the world. Like you came into high school and it was drama. It was chaos with the teens. I loved it. Like I loved living with them and just being able to be with them and work with them through their stuff. And through that is where this CALM method came from. So the CALM is connection, awareness, language, and measurable response. And when we look at it as leaders, this takes a whole new form for leadership. Because when we look at connection, trust is a huge thing, and trust and being present are what build connection, right? We look at how it works through either in corporations, organizations, or at home. You can, again, run a huge company, but you can totally have no connection with your family at home. And I believe that connection, it goes from the dining table or the kitchen table into the boardroom, and from the boardroom back. And so if you're missing that connection, it just follows you wherever you go.
That's beautiful. But it's well put.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we watch it over and over because these companies are losing amazing, amazing people. And it's not because of, the perks or the organization. It's because of leadership. And so the second one, awareness, is you need to be able to read the room. You need to be able to be aware of what's going on and even what triggers you. So as a leader, as a parent, I even think of as grandparents, as aunt and uncles, things will trigger us and we may not even realize that until it happens. Well, then how do you respond to that? Right? So then we go into the language part. Language either can anchor us or it can completely build up walls. So again, what does that look like? And we can choose how that looks. And then which manageable response, again, is we can choose how we're going to respond. And when I think about, as parents, and I have a 16, I guess he'll say just about 17-year-old at home, I did this where all of a sudden, they're talking to you and you immediately know how you're going to respond, know the answer. And so without realizing, you shut down and stop listening to what they're saying. Many times they don't want advice. They just want to be seen and heard.
Just to hold space.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to learn to ask, do you want advice or would you just like me to listen? And of course, majority of the time they want you to listen. But then after, it's like, well, what would you do, Mom?
Yeah.
So they still want the advice, but they want to know that they were heard. And even with space, each child, and again in leadership, each person, their space looks very different, right? What safe space looks like. So again, it's being aware, it's knowing who they are, what they need. And all adults want to be seen, heard, and valued. Same with kids.
That's incredible. Incredible. I love that. What's the first step for someone who wants to rebuild trust within their team or family? So there's so many things, but once we're here, two opposite sides, what is the first step to bring them together? Because sometimes I don't think people are ready yet either.
No, and I agree with that. Sometimes people aren't ready. And and I think it's not even a number one. Again, it's looking inside of yourself and kind of saying, you know what, am I ready? And how have I been a part of this, this disconnect? What does that look like?
Taking accountability for your own.
Hugely accountability. And then being able to come forward and saying, okay, you know what? I know there's a break in here somewhere. There's a gap. How have I been a part of this gap? And how can I now work through this? It's not fixing it because many times stuff can't just be fixed.
Right.
But it's how can I now take this and start working through and working with you on it? And I think that works with families or with companies.
And I think it takes a little bit of courage to be the first one to try to build that trust, right?
Yeah.
Someone has to do it. Someone's got to take the hand and be like, come on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's like flipping a coin. Okay, heads, tails, who's going to do it?
Right? But I think if we all did it, just to even, take that first step, it kind of just eases that energy, right? To be able to, I guess, whatever the intention is behind it, to build trust.
Yeah. And trust, we're finding more and more, it's about being present, right? People don't care about performance. And, I understand with these big companies, performance and, the stats and all this kind of stuff. However, if you go right down to the grounding of where everything is, and it's presence. It's people want to know that, you know what, you're not perfect, they're not perfect and it's okay.
Yes, it's perfect.
Right?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
How can leaders bring more compassion into decision-making without losing the accountability?
Okay. I love this because I believe that they work together. There's a balance. And I think in order to have great leadership, they need both. So with compassion, sometimes with compassion, there's kind of that lack of boundaries, right? And then with accountability, there's that lack of empathy. However, when you bring both of those together, you don't have that fear where, with the accountability and, brings on fear with no empathy. But now you've got the empathy, you've got the compassion, you've got accountability, and you've got boundaries. And all of those together, I think, when you look at it over a full spectrum, that's leadership. And people look at stuff, especially with boundaries or even with compassion, for instance, that if you have compassion, you're too soft. I don't believe that, because you need to have compassion in order to understand people. Yeah. And you need to have boundaries in order, again, I call them guardrails, right? Because it's kind of that safety zone. What does that look like for people? It's like with our kids. I remember for my son, I would choose 3 outfits for him. Those were the guardrails. But he knew he had a decision. And for him, he loved it, right? Because he could make that decision. So I believe that all of them, they just all work together. And to have a good leader and to have good leadership, they both need to be there.
I love that. It's a balance of both.
Huge. Yeah.
Carlamay, thank you for joining us and sharing your wisdom on what it means to lead with calm and clarity. For our extended interview, where we explore simple daily practices to bring the calm method into your work and relationships, visit WakeUpCalgary.ca. And stay tuned. Linda from Culinaire magazine joins us in studio with James Jenkins from Ocean to Mountain Seafood in the Drunken Lobster Oyster Bar in Canmore for this week's Taste of Calgary.
I'm Linda Garson, and today we're taking a little trip from the coast to the Rockies without ever leaving the studio. Joining me is James Jenkins, founder of Ocean to Mountain Seafoods and the Drunken Lobster Oyster Bar in Canmore. James and his team are redefining how we enjoy seafood in Alberta, proving that even in a landlocked province, freshness, traceability and quality can still be top shelf. Wow. James, it's lovely to have you here.
It's great to meet you, Linda, and thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Wow. Seafood from Canmore.
Yeah, I know, right? It's not the first thing you think about when you think about the mountains, or
not even the second or third.
No, exactly, right?
So you grew up on the East Coast, I believe.
Yeah, born and raised, actually, in a place called Miramichi, New Brunswick.
Okay, so what inspired you to bring that passion for seafood all the way to the Rockies?
I mean, I wish I had this romantic story to tell you about, I was on the boats when I was a kid and all that kind of stuff. But no, really, it's my mother's side of the family were more on the fisherman side, the French Canadian, the Acadians. Yeah. A place called Bay Sainte-Anne, Esquimanac. They were all lobster fishermen. And back my grandfather's day, when he was a kid, it was poor man's food. Stuff. So when I grew up, I always grew up, seafood and salmon, especially because I grew up on the Miramichi River, which is famous back then it's world famous for salmon. Okay. And we always had lobsters. Like my grandfather would bring garbage bags full of lobsters, and we had a big picnic in his yard. And yeah, I was actually hated seafood when I was really young, and I was kind of scared of the lobsters, to be honest with you. I won't go into that, but the other half of that question is I have really good friends from PEI. And they're in Vancouver, and they're my supplier, basically, right? So They ship me what I need, mostly shellfish, oysters, mussels, and lobster, whatnot. And it's super fresh. Well, like I said, my friends, they were doing this in Vancouver. So they're bringing all the East Coast shellfish to Vancouver, doing wholesale, supplying restaurants and whatnot. So when I was living in Vancouver, I'm like, oh my God, I lived in Canmore for 12 years in the 2000s.
Okay.
And I thought, well, that'd be great, because I knew everybody in the industry, in food and beverage, and all the chefs and and whatnot. I'm like, wow, that'd be great business in Canmore and Banff and Calgary. And when 2020 happened and everything shut down, I left Vancouver, came back to Canmore. And then a year later, I opened Ocean and Mountain Seafoods with the help of my friends in Vancouver, which are from PEI.
Yeah,
So
wonderful. Ocean to Mountain is such a great name because it captures your mission perfectly. How do you actually make that happen, getting seafood from the boats to the plate while keeping it so fresh?
Well, the name itself, Ocean and Mountain, is like farm to table kind of thing, right? So, without giving up the secret sauce, I basically just order what I need for the week or what I think I'm going to need, because it's a live animal. It's super fresh, right? So it's
Still alive.
basically it's in the ocean on Tuesday, and I get it on Wednesday. So my mussels, especially, and the oysters, are like, you can't get that fresh in PEI, basically, right? Without going to the dock. So it's the next best thing to go without going to the actual dock from the fishermen and buying it. So we use cargo jet. Most people use cargo jet, and then have a cold storage in Calgary. So you have to make a certain weight, otherwise you pay more money and stuff. So I order what I need for the week, and it flies into Calgary, and I go pick it up. When it arrives, drive it to Canmore, and then basically it's on your table within 8-12 hours.
Wonderful. Let's talk about your oyster bar in Canmore, the Drunken Lobster.
Yeah.
For those that haven't visited yet, how would you describe the vibe and the menu?
The vibe and the menu, I would say it's kind of like an upscale fish shack, really. It's like, it's laid back but fancy. So you can go there on a day dressed up to the nines, or just go there in your t-shirt and jeans, basically, right?
Wow.
We are redesigning the menu. So the menu right now is like lobster rolls. There's fresh oysters and mussel pots, lobster dinner. There's the catch of the day, kind of like a salmon or a tuna or a halibut, with vegetables. Like we do surf and turf, that kind of stuff, right? We do some, like, a lot of stuff comes with, like, say a side of fries. We do lobster mac and cheese, that kind of stuff, right? So it's more putty style. But we do have some more like entrees that are more, fancier. And then we are actually redesigning the menu, because a lot of people, we find that they share. They'll order a bunch of stuff and share it. So when I try
Absolutely.
You want to
try more, don't
yeah,
you?
exactly, right? So we do have this one big dish. It's a lobster boil, basically, right? So it's like all the shellfish. So it's like a full lobster. You got crab legs. You got mussels, clams, shrimp, scallops.
How many people would that be for?
2 to 4 people, 6 people sometimes.
2. I
yeah.
think 2.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big one, that's for sure. But we are doing more of a fresher kind of share plates and stuff like that. So it'll be less kind of deep fried, battered and like we do fish and chips, and people love our fish and chips.
I can't wait to visit.
I think we have the best fish and chips in the Western Canada, and the best chowder. I was going to throw it out there. Anybody want to challenge me?
Both my favorites.
Yeah, exactly. We do the traditional like seafood chowder, which is cream based. So we do like a Manhattan kind of with tomato base with clams. But we are going to, like I said, smaller plates, sharing, and more fresh, that kind of stuff, right? But we also use beef tallow in the fryer, so
Oh, really?
it's a little healthier and tastes a little better. But we do have canola oil and gluten-free fryer as well too. So
Gluten-free fryer.
yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
The age.
Thoughtful and wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. You want to exclude anybody, so
Yeah. So what's your favorite oyster or seafood dish right now?
my favorite seafood dish, it's changing all the time. I mean, I love the chowder for sure, and definitely the fish and chips, but I try not to eat it too much, just for obvious reasons. I love when we get fresh halibut in. It's super nice. I just love halibut. It's East Coast halibut too. I do bring in some West Coast sometimes.
Which fish do you use for your fish and chips?
Which fish we use? Sometimes Icelandic cod or haddock.
Right.
Traditionally
Cod and
East
haddock.
Coast is haddock. Yeah, exactly. And we have fish tacos that are really good. We use haddock for that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
What we're doing. I do, but
Come on. So I got the Breton and you got the Riptide. And that's, hey, well, cheers.
cheers.
Yeah. One is actually Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand, 7 Terraces. I serve it in the restaurant. People like it. Very crushable.
Yes. Did that sound? Do you?
All right.
Let's have a smell. Smells delicious, doesn't it?
Yes.
You really can smell.
Yeah.
Smell the citrus, smell the gooseberry sort of flavour. Almost grapefruit, tarragon. Oh, it's delicious. I'm just smelling it. I haven't tasted it yet, but it's all there, just in the aromas. Let's have a taste before the oyster, shall we?
Okay.
Cheers again. That is delicious, isn't it? Going to be perfect with these oysters.
Excellent.
Okay, now
All right.
across.
You can try the Breton this time.
And
Do the...
the big one.
All right.
And it's very juicy.
It is. A lot of liquor, that one.
It does have.
Bottom.
Is it acceptable to take a little bit of the liquor out first so it's not all straight down my chest?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some people can pour a little bit of vodka or tequila in there too, and the stuff, and just shoot it out of the oyster shell.
I say she.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's a good slurp.
I have to say, I am chewing it because it's so delicious. I almost don't want to swallow it too long.
Yeah. I mean, people get weirded out. Yeah. People get weirded out by the texture and stuff, but that's what I'm saying. You always want to dress it up with lots of stuff if it's your first time, just to kind of help the...
That's the winner for me, I have to say. That's a meal.
Yeah, for sure.
And now with the wine. It is so completely perfect with it, isn't it? The acid in the wine plays with the spice from the Tabasco and the horseradish and lessens that spice, but it also works with the acid in the mignonette and lessens the acid there too. So that's fabulous.
If you have an oyster Rockefeller or breaded or grilled or cooked oysters, a stout is really good too, actually.
Ooh, that sounds good. I must say I'm rather partial to cooked oysters.
Yeah. A lot of people are, especially if it's your first time. It's cooked, it's easier on the palate maybe, but
they're just... Then they get the crunchy outside and it's just comfort food, isn't it? Yeah. This is elegant and I feel like I have to be on my best behaviour. Yeah. Cooked oysters.
I know.
That's the fish and chip side of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, cheers and thank you very much indeed for coming in and bringing all these oysters and telling us about it.
It was my pleasure. Thanks so much to the team and for having me here, and I really appreciate it. And maybe you'll be back. Maybe
next time on your turf.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to come to Canmore.
We don't doubt you.
James, thank you so much for joining us and reminding us that world-class seafood isn't just for the coast. You're proving that with passion, relationships, and a bit of creativity. Great crude can travel anywhere. To learn more, visit thedrunkenlobster.com or oceantomountainseafoods.com. And of course, you can find more Calgary Culinary stories in Culinaire magazine and at WakeUpCalgary.ca.
Leadership doesn't always look like power. Most of the time, it actually looks like presence. It's found in the person who pauses before reacting, in the parents who listen, in the neighbors who simply just show up. We live in a time that loves visibility. But most transformational leaders aren't the loudest ones. They're the ones who create the calm in the storm, the ones who remind us of what others really mean when the noise gets too high. Empathy is not weakness, it's structure. It holds communities together when plans fall apart. And consistency, that quiet repetition of showing up, is what builds trust, brick by brick. Calgary was built on that kind of reliability. People who do the work, help out their neighbors, and believe in tomorrow. Even when today feels hard, so many leaders isn't about moving mountains. Maybe it's about tending to the ground right where we are. This week, let's show up. Show up calm, show up with courage, and remember, the loudest changes often start with the quietest act of care. Thanks for watching.
I am truly inspired. I am so
Absolutely.
excited to be here. I love Calgary.
Oh, so do I.
Thanks for joining us here on Wake Up Calgary.
We'll see you next time.